Hey everyone, it's Anna Runyon, and today I just wanted to give you a peek inside of my business, kind of see behind the scenes how I do things at classycareergirl.com. And so today we're going to talk about how I outsource the work that I hate doing, that I shouldn't be doing, and how I do it in under a week. And so for the last 4 years, I have had an amazing virtual assistant. Her name is Lore, and she is from the Philippines. And one of the best decisions I ever made was hiring her. I did not necessarily know how I was gonna afford her, but it truly wasn't as expensive as you'd think. So it was definitely doable, and it was something that I knew if I could just replace myself and have some help because I was still working a full-time job. So if I had someone else on my team, it would make me, one, feel like a business owner, and also it would free myself up so I could give her some tasks so I could actually focus on earning an income, increasing my revenue, and kind of double up and have a team and start delegating things. So the first thing I want you to do if you're thinking about outsourcing your work to a virtual assistant is to really identify what you need help with. And so that what you're going to be doing is really thinking about, what are those tasks that you really love doing? In the beginning, you're probably doing things that you hate doing. You're probably doing things you can't really do. You don't really know how to do. And you're probably doing things that you really shouldn't be doing. So, those are the three things I want you to focus on. Those are the first things that you're going to start outsourcing and start delegating. Eventually, I mean, this has taken me a long time to get to, even where most of my day now is filled with things that I love doing. And so that's your dream, that's your goal, that's where you're headed. But I know when you're starting, you're going to be doing some of these things, but I want you to start delegating the things you hate doing, the things you can't do, and the things you really shouldn't do. So that's your first step. Your second step is to think about creating an org chart. And what I really want you to do is think about creating an org chart of a year from now. Like, where do you want your team to be in a year if everything was going exactly how you wanted it to go for your business? And so this will be, there'll be some TBDs. You don't necessarily know who's going to fill those roles, but I would really challenge you to start creating this and start thinking of, who this hire is going to be, who your next hire is going to be as well. So you don't need to get fancy. We're not creating this big fancy business plan and going to get funding right now, right? We're just doing it very simple. Here's mine. This changes all the time. I don't have a big fancy org chart right now, but this is all I really need, so that I can put together who's doing what. And so you'll see, like, me as CEO now, like I'm 100% working on increasing profitability, passive income, growing my brand, networking, speaking, media, meeting amazing women. And I can do that because I have built the structure. I've started putting more tasks on other people so I can do things that only I can do and only things that I really enjoy doing. And then I have my virtual assistants. So now I have two virtual assistants, two full-time virtual assistants who are helping me create content and helping me publish content and create awesome photos and really keep up with the website. Everything that you see today is not all me doing it. I definitely have help making things happen so I can focus on the things I really, really love doing, like helping you personally and running my courses and my programs and speaking to people and meeting new people. So that's what I want you to do next, is to create your org chart. Then you are now ready to create your job description. So I'm going to head on over and show you where I find my employees and my virtual assistants. I find my employees at onlinejobs.ph, and we have a link for that in the article that you're reading right now. And this is what I did 4 years ago. This is what I also just did this last week. This is why it's fresh in my mind. So this is why I wanted to do this video for you. But what I did is I created a job post. So I logged in here, created my account, went here, create your job post. And then I created my job description. So this is really thinking ahead. All this stuff you're going to plan ahead before you actually hire someone. You really want to know what knowledge they need, what are they going to be doing, what their specific responsibilities include. So I've just kind of let them know for this job I'm hiring for. It was an editorial and social media virtual assistant. So I just kind of let them know what is involved in that, what your job will be, and what the requirements will be as well. What they need to have done. I add their wage and salary in there. I usually only recommend hiring for full-time. I've tried part-time and it didn't really work very well. Filipinos, they really want to be part of your team and they work really hard and they're They're amazing. I mean, their English is great, and they are just such hard workers. Like, I'm just so impressed with the people that I've hired there. So I only go for full time. I want them to know that there's a long-term place on my team for them if they work hard and they do a good job, and I promote and I hire within, or I grow people within, and I provide training and all that too. So you want to be a fun place to work. So that is your job description. And then you're going to post your job. So right here, I only teach what has worked for me building my own business. And so, like I said, I found the Philippines is a great place to outsource. It's one of the best decisions I've made. And I now have 2 virtual assistants that I found just through using this site. So you can post a job for free, but you'll need to pay $49 to email the people that respond to you. And so you'll see here, so this is my the job that I posted. I have had 36 applicants, 264 hits. So I have like pages and pages of people who have emailed me wanting this job. So in order to email them back, it is $49 per month. Sometimes they will email you directly, so you don't have to pay the $49. It's $0 to actually post your job. But I would recommend doing your due diligence and paying that $49 so that you can review all of the emails and the applications that are submitted for the position. Like I said, I usually get about 36 applicants for each job. So I like to go through and do my due diligence. So once I have, these applicants, you usually have to wait about 24 to 48 hours for your job posting to get approved when you outsource. And then you'll start getting a ton of applicants, a ton of emails. I usually just let it go for about 24 hours for applicants to keep rolling in, so that I think at this point, when I went back, I had about 25 applicants. They've still been streaming in, but like I move fast. Like, I want to hire quick people, and so I really focus on those people, like the people who respond the first and second. Like, those are my go-tos. Like, I want someone who's a quick responder, and that means they'll answer my questions very quickly too. So I go into the system, I bookmark the applicants that I think what would be the best fit for me. So I go in here, you can highlight people, you can bookmark them, you can put little notes about them as well. And then when you go into your account, you can actually go back and see who those people were that you bookmarked and what your notes were about them as well. And then I follow up with this email to the top about 3 to 5 candidates. I follow up with an email with them, and I ask them these questions. I say, when are you able to start? Is there anything else we should know that will help us make our decision? I tell them that this is a full-time position, how many hours per week, what it pays, and just make sure that they're still interested. And then, what are you most excited about doing in this job? I also ask for an article they have written. So you'd be surprised, I get so many applicants, and then I ask for this next step, these questions, and people don't respond. So either they don't know English very well, that's always a possibility, or they maybe they didn't like the pay, maybe they just got scared. They're like, sometimes you apply and then you're like, oh my gosh, actually I don't have time for this, or I don't really want this. And so I rule aloud a lot of people, but usually then the next step is hiring like a boss, because usually there'll be that one person who really stands out to me that's very obvious. It's the one that has responded the quickest and has the best English. In her responses, she's really super excited about the job. And I really get the feeling that they really want to be on my team, and I then want them to be on my team. I get this sense of peace and calmness because I know stuff will be taken off my plate that I can focus on growing my business. So once I find the one, then I will send them their employment policies. So this is one last check. I'm giving them all the information. In the Philippines, you have to give a 13-month bonus, which is, so basically you pay them another extra month in the 13th month. All this stuff you'll figure out as you go along. And then, I always give a week off between Christmas and New Year's. I ask them to send me an invoice at the end of each month to be paid. So it's one of those systems I've built into my business, so I don't have to remember to pay them, but they have to send me something, and then we'll do it. And then they also need to notify us if they're going to be on vacation or if they're sick. We observe all of these major holidays. We give 2 weeks vacation. We pay through paypal.com, super easy. Like I said, we hire for full time. And they work at night and we work during the day here in the United States. And so it's really great to task them with something, before I go to bed and to wake up in the morning and to get it done, have it done. So that's the reason I love working with them. I can't necessarily get a hold of them during the day, but I found that I don't really need to. I can get a hold of them at night or first thing in the morning. And then every day they're required to send me an update email answering these questions. What did you do today? What problems did you run into today? And what can I do to make your job easier? And those 3 things really help me figure out if they're having any issues and if there's any way I can help. I mean, we've realized, one time, my assistant said her mouse wasn't working very well, so I bought her a new mouse. We've had issues sometimes with internet, like, her internet would go in and out, and we were doing these really important videos for one of my courses, so we bought her internet, we upgraded her internet. Little things, we bought her an office chair because she said her back hurts. Like, this is where I find out those things that I really, I want to be that type of boss where I'm helping them. They're helping me so much. They've impacted my business so much that I want to add in these little extra bonuses and things that I can help them with as well. Okay, and then your last step is really to start delegating. You're going to use a task management system. You have to figure out which one works the best for you. I always use Asana, so right away, I give them their email address, and I log them, or I create an account for them in Asana.com, and that's really where we have all of our tasks for our entire team. So I'd recommend using Asana once you start growing your team. I also use Trello, so this is where Trello.com is where my operations manual is. So I separate Asana is where my tasks are. Trello.com is where my operations manual is. So in there, if they have a question about anything, they can go in there, and I've linked videos and my operations manuals to each of these sections. So each section of my company has their own little operations manual. We have social media procedures, editorial blog content procedures, and chief operating officer job description stuff there too. So those are the first 2 things I do to get them up and running. And let's see, did I forget anything else? We have them sign an NDA, non-disclosure, just to make sure that they're not sharing any of our behind-the-scenes stuff with anyone else. They take their training videos on Trello that I've recorded myself. So if you have someone else's training, that's fine. Give them as much training as they can handle in the beginning. They love to learn. But I like to do my own trainings now because I have a very specific way of how I do things. And so I want them to copy my model, not all these other different people's models. But if you don't have training, just, have them research it themselves. They're great at research. I always give them, have them review their job description again and give them their daily, weekly, and ongoing tasks on a separate piece of paper so that they know what they need to do daily, weekly, and then as needed when it comes up. Make sure they have all the login information that you need. You can be slow for this in the beginning. Like, you don't want to pass out your PayPal, information in the beginning. But as you start to trust them, you can definitely start increasing, the login information that you provide to them. So that's it. Your new teammate is waiting for you. So I'm excited for you to have a new teammate.